Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show. This one I'm doing a little bit differently because I'm going to be talking about something that could go outside of the plant-based eating protocol, which is the 75 hard. And I'm going to answer the top 5 questions that people have when they participate in the 75 hard challenge. Hi, this is Kathleen Gage with Plant-Based Eating for Health, and today I'm going to share with you a challenge that I'm participating in that you don't have to be plant-based to participate in, but I do encourage you to give it a shot.
Are you ready to live the life you deserve? Do you want to feel vibrantly healthy and reach your optimal weight without dieting while being kind to animals and the planet? Then you're in the right place at the right time. Welcome to Plant-Based Eating for Health with your host, certified plant-based nutritionist, Kathleen Gage.
And it's the 75 hard, and I'm going to answer the top 5 questions that most people ask about the challenge. The first one is, what is the challenge? Well, it's a 75-day protocol, and I wrote down the 5 things that you need to do and also the 5 questions because I don't want to forget anything. At the age of 66, sometimes I could use the excuse that I don't remember, but quite seriously, I do remember because I have clarity of mind simply because I am a plant-based eater. I'm coming up on 2 years of being a plant-based eater. And let me tell you about what the protocol is. The protocol, first of all, is a 5-part 75-day challenge. And the reason it's called 75 hard is because it's hard. It really is. I already found out on day 2 how hard it is, but there's 5 parts to it. Your eating protocol, and Tony Frisella, who started it, he says you start with a diet of some sort. Well, I like to think of it as an eating protocol, and I encourage people try a whole food plant-based protocol for 75 days because chances are when you do a plant-based, whole food plant-based protocol, not vegan, but a whole food plant-based protocol, it means you will be vegan. However, you're not eating junk food. You're eating whole food as close to nature as possible. And with the eating, you stick to it. You don't cheat. You don't say, okay, well, I'll do part of my day plant-based and then I'll eat cookies for the rest of the day. No. You commit to a certain eating protocol for 75 days. Oh, by the way, when you see this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification, hit the like button, because then people that might benefit from this will be able to see it. And the more likes it has, the more it goes out into cyberspace and more people can benefit from it. So go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell notification if you see this on YouTube. Visit plantbasedeatingforhealth.com because in there I have a whole bunch of information on how to eat plant-based. I even have a free resource. It's the Beginner's Guide to Plant-Based Eating that I wrote when I was about 3 or 4 months into my journey of plant-based eating. I've got to tell you, it has changed my life completely. Again, I'm coming up on 2 years on September 16th. I dropped 35 pounds. I have not gained an ounce of it back. I don't count my calories. I don't worry about my macros and my micros and those and that. I just eat really healthy. And for 66 years old, I think I'm doing pretty darn good. And my goal is at 70 to be so sassy that I'm going to be one of those 70-year-olds that people go, oh my gosh, she's 70. That's amazing. The next thing is you have 2 45-minute exercise protocols per day. One of them should be outside. That's the criteria. It has to be outside. However, Tony said, use common sense. If there's a reason that you can't go outside, then don't go outside. Well, mine is we have fires in the area, really bad fires. We're on high alert for possible evacuation. So yesterday on day 2, I couldn't go outside to do my normal run. I usually run 45 minutes to an hour every single day. So it wasn't going to be much of a stretch for me to add in another 45-minute exercise. But yesterday it was because I could not go outside. So I did a morning protocol, and then 6 o'clock in the evening, I realized I better do it or I'm already going to have to go back to day 1. And that's one of the rules. If you miss any part of this, you have to go back to day one. And so I didn't on day two want to go back to day one. So exercise twice a day for 45 minutes, preferably you go outside for one of them. That really is a guideline. So as soon as I can go outside again, and it'll probably be in another couple of days, trust me, I'm going to be outside. The next thing is that you read 10 pages from a physical book, not an ebook, not an audio book. You 10 pages from a physical book. There's something that happens to our mind and our brain. It recircuits if we're sitting down and actually reading a book. The book that I just finished is Shirley MacLaine's book, Saging While Aging. And a really fascinating book because she actually believes in extraterrestrial. She believes in past life regression. She believes in a lot of metaphysics. And I found it to be very fascinating. So 10 pages of a non-fiction inspirational book, business book, spiritual book, anything that is non-fiction. The next is drink a gallon of water a day. This is a half gallon, and I got to tell you, having this half gallon container really makes a difference. Go to the store, buy yourself a half gallon container or a gallon container. I like a half gallon because it's easier to handle, but I know that I have to finish this by about noon, the first one, and that way I definitely will finish the second one by the time I go to sleep. Now, fair warning, you will be visiting the restroom a lot more frequently if you're not a regular water drinker. And I went on a run the other day where it was even before I started the 75 challenge or the 75 hard. And I was testing the water consumption. And I got to tell you, I visited the restroom before I left the house, got to the park, and within about a half mile, it was like, ooh, I hope there's a honey pot around. And there was, or a honey bucket. And there was, fortunately. Okay, so gallon of water, not any less than a gallon. You can go more than a gallon, but definitely get yourself a container. Makes a huge difference. And then the big one that most people mess up on is take a selfie every single day. Take a selfie every single day. The first 2 days I took it of myself, and I was with my, here, I've got this where I've got my selfie stick, and I tried it with that, and I was contortioning, and finally I had Karen take my image today. It made it a lot easier, but that way you can see your progress. And this is a big one. A lot of people forget that. That's very, very important. Okay, so that was one question. What is the 75 hard? It's where you have an eating protocol, and again, I encourage you try a plant-based, whole food plant-based eating protocol. And if you're not sure what that is, get the book Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Huge game changer. That book was one of the first books I read that really made a difference in me being convinced that this is a great way to live. You exercise twice a day for 45 minutes. One of them has to be outside unless there's fires going on and you can't go outside. But if it's raining, that is not an excuse. I mean, we're talking real danger of going outside. So rain is not danger. You read 10 pages from a non-fiction book. Mine happens to be that I finished Shirley MacLaine's book. Great book. The next one is drink a gallon of water and get yourself a container so it makes it easier per day. And you take a selfie. Okay, so that's the first question. What is it? Who is it for? Well, this is not for everybody. So who it's for is people who want to up your game. This is not a diet protocol. This is really a mindset, a mind toughness protocol. It's a challenge to really raise your own game. And for me, when the COVID hit, I made a lot of changes in my life. I got really focused on my business because there were some dramatic changes that happened in my business. Like many people, a few aspects of my business came to a screeching halt. I'm a keynote speaker, and I got to tell you, all of a sudden, conferences are not happening. So I had to really pivot, and I had to quickly look at where could I cut out the fat in my business, literally cut out the fat. Where did I have leaks in my finances? Maybe I was spending $5, $10, $15 a month on programs I wasn't using. So I immediately dug in, rolled up my sleeves, and I looked at my business and I made some dramatic changes. I actually went from having several different areas that I was focusing on to now I have two primary areas. One is the plant-based eating community. I do my podcast show, which you're getting this as a part of that. And I also have a program on how experts can get on podcast shows so that they can amplify their visibility and their influence. So I have two primary areas in my business. One is the plant-based eating community. The other, and I'm in the process of growing that community, growing my channel, and I'm also helping experts to get on podcast shows, teaching them the ins and outs of how to get on podcast shows. So this program is for people who really want to up their game in life. They really want to amplify what they're doing. They really want to put themselves through a tough challenge, because 75 days, you're going to run into a lot of opportunities to find excuses not to fulfill your commitment. And this is all about how you do anything is how you do everything. I've heard that from several experts, and it's so true. What you do in private will be rewarded for in public. Heard that first from Tony Robbins. And so if you fudge on things privately, you're not going to get rewarded publicly. And I've been going through a 3-day training, and I actually signed up for a program, Grow with Video with Sean Cannell. I'll put the link below of how you can join that, but Grow with Video. And I'm using video to grow all of the programs that I have to offer. And I'm looking at that, and he said, you've got to start with a small seed. A lot of people give up with YouTube, they give up with Instagram, they give up with Facebook, they give up with their podcast shows because they're not growing what they think is fast enough. And if you do it long enough and you get better and better at what you do, you're going to grow your market. So this program is truly for those people who want to amplify what you're doing and you're willing to pay your dues. It's not for people who, if you're really out of shape, you need to talk to your doctor. That's really important. But it's not for people who are wimps. It's not for people who complain. It's not for people who find excuses. It's for people who really want to up your game. Why is it hard? Well, think about it. Twice a day, you're exercising for 45 minutes. One of those times has to be outside. So if it's too hot, if it's too cold, if it's too wet, if it's too dry, you might find excuses. It's for people who are willing to drink a lot of fluids. And, you know, really what it is the reason it's so hard is because it's a rigid process. And it's easy to forget the 5 steps. And the big one, again, which shocks me, is the selfie. But a lot of people say, oh, I don't need to take a picture, or they say, oh, I'll do it my own way. It's set up the way it is for a reason. And it's hard because you can get bored with it. So I would say just try it, stick with it. Will I succeed? That's a question people have. Will I succeed? I don't know. If you do the 5 steps every single day, you do it for 75 days consistently, you have succeeded. Take it a day at a time. So whether or not you're going to succeed is up to you. It's not up to me. It's not up to your neighbor. It's not up to your spouse. It's up to you. Oh, by the way, when you see this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification, hit the like button, because then people that might benefit from this will be able to see it. And the more likes it has, the more it goes out into cyberspace and more people can benefit from it. So go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell notification if you see this on YouTube. If it's on Instagram, go ahead and just give it a heart and leave a comment. Are you interested in plant-based eating? Are you interested in 75 Hard? If you're interested in plant-based eating, go to plantbasedeatingforhealth.com. That's plantbasedeatingforhealth.com, and you'll see a whole bunch of blog posts. You'll see links to my Facebook group and all of that. If you want to hear the podcast show, go to plantbasedeatingforhealth.com/podcast. That's plantbasedeatingforhealth.com/podcast. This is Kathleen Gage encouraging you. Give it a shot. What do you have to lose but maybe a few pounds, even though it's not a diet? What do you have to lose but lack of motivation? What do you have to gain? everything. You have motivation, you have drive, you have grit, you have determination. And at the age of 66, I'll tell you, I am not ready to slow down. If anything, I want to amplify what I'm doing. So join me in the 75 Hard Challenge. Have a great day.
Thank you for your commitment to an ethical life through plant-based food choices. The kind of choices that are kind to your body, the environment, and most of all, animals. Be sure to leave a review and rating of the Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show.